welcome to Brutes Magoots, where today we are going to be taking a look at this new to me Charvel Superstock SC1 Artist Signature Edition Henrik electric guitar, white Relic. Now this is obviously a signature model of Henrik's, and it's been out for, I don't know, probably about 2 or 3 years now. And they say it's a limited edition, but they keep on pumping them out, so I don't really know what extent that really means. But the weird thing about this guitar is that you think, this is obviously a very polarizing guitar, right? Because it's so heavily relicked. And today we're not even diving into whether you're a fan of relics or you hate them, because obviously if you're watching this, then I assume that you are into or at least interested in relics. Obviously, you know where I sit in this position because I have this one right here, and this is my first relic guitar. But I gotta say that overall, I really like it. I've had this for a couple days now, and I've gotten used to it a little bit. And overall, I would say it's a pretty good guitar. It's probably not worth the asking price, especially being made in Mexico. But it's still a good guitar, and it's got that aesthetic. If you like worn out guitars, it's going to be hard for you to not appreciate this one right here. And I say that because I like them, but I saw this one a couple of years ago. Actually, I've been following, I love Evergrey, so I'll just say that right now. Diehard fan of Evergrey, been a fan for probably about 18 or 20 years. And I love Henrik. He is just such a good guy. He's down to earth, he's super mellow and chill, and he's just a very personable guy. And so I like supporting people like that. But anyway, regardless, for the past 10 years or so, he's been with Charvel, and he's had his guitar that's been beaten up on the road and stuff like that, and then they decided to do, which I've appreciated from touring videos and stuff like that. I've always liked it, and then they decided to do an artist model of that guitar, where they kind of remake all of his road wear and stuff like that as best they can for a Mexican shop. Obviously, this isn't a top-notch Fender USA Relic job. This is obviously a made in Mexico Relic job, and we'll take a look at this guitar in close detail in a second. But overall, it's good, and it's got great bones. And the reason why I wanted this guitar is because I had been wanting to do a hot rodded super strat for a long time. And to me, there's a lot of guitars that have strat-esque bodies, but they really don't have the essence of a strat. This Charvel still has that essence of a strat, and that's what I wanted. I especially love the reverse headstock because it adds a little bit of that metal feel to it, But yeah, other than that, I just wanted just a guitar that I could beat around the bedroom and not worry about dings and nicks and stuff like that, and just one that I could just gut and hot rod out the way I want it. And I know it's crazy to pay that kind of price for a guitar and just gut it, but that's what I'm gonna do. So the stuff that comes out of the box, pretty good. That's a Floyd Rose 1000. Got some good pickups in it and stuff like that. We'll go over all the details on it, but we also have a 12 to 16 inch neck radius, but it's got a lot of playability. This is a neck that's slimmer than the standard Charvel neck or Fender neck, but overall it has all the bones that I wanted, and I'm just going to sell on Reverb or whatever the parts out of this guitar, and I should recoup probably about 70 or 75% of my cost on stuff that I want to put on this guitar, so it's mine, to make it mine and make it the way I want it built. But yeah, overall, this thing is awesome. Now I will say, out of the box, this thing was, when I received it, it was terrible. they didn't do a great setup on it at all. In fact, like the bridge was all the way dropped back to the body. It was just angled just like that, like all the way up against the body. And the strings were out of tune. It was a mess. When I re-leveled the bridge, the string height was probably like a 1/4 inch off the fretboard. It was obnoxious. It was terrible. And just did a quick little setup on there. I play drop C mostly for 6-string, like 25.5 scale guitars. So I just quickly set it up to that. But I will say, you know, I need to like change strings out on it because this still has the stock strings. I think they're like 946 or something like that. They're pretty light, but I mean, it sounds great, like out of box. Like doing that, like C, like I love the way that sounds. But yeah, it's just a great guitar. I haven't had any major problems with it. I know you guys are kind of excited to take a look at it up close. There's been other videos. I'm just going to add to that. I may not be able to add anything interesting to the conversation, but let's just you know, take a look at it. And yeah, let's dive in. All right, so I switched over to my lapel mic now. And first up, I wanted to show you the soft shell case that it comes with. I think that the earlier ones didn't come with a case, but it comes with a pretty decent case. I wish they would just give a full out hard shell case, but this is what you get. It's like a foam filled, you know, it's pretty rigid, but it's still not like a hard case. But anyway, this is what it looks inside. So overall, not too bad at all. And then there's some carrying straps for it because on the back. Let's take a look at this. Has some little straps back here so that you can kind of carry it like a backpack or over your shoulder or whatever. But I got rid of that case. I am going to sell that off, and I got this hard shell Fender tweed case. I feel like it looks a lot better. Matches the aesthetic of the guitar, and it looks so good with that red lining on that case. So let's go ahead and go over the specs of the guitar real quick. It is a solid body. We have ash. I think it's swamp ash though. They don't really say. Semi-gloss lacquer. It's Relic obviously, and it's white. Let's look up close at the Relic job on here. And you know, some stuff looks good, others, you know, looks questionable. The problem is like this is like a print, so it's the same on every guitar. Now this stuff is hand done in, and it's different, but this line work all through it, like that's the same on every one, and it looks a little suspect to me. We have some of this work is done afterwards, and these dings in here are done afterwards, but in general, it's basically kind of like a print, I think, that they do. I'm not really sure what happens. But throughout here, this is all hand done. So there is some hand work being done. We'll look at the back of it. And again, there's not much going on here as far as paint work. They went overboard with these little dings and these little gouges in here. It looks super fake to me. So I don't like that so much. And then this buckle wear that they have, you know, is all hand done, and it's different for every guitar, but it just doesn't, it looks super unnatural to me. I might sand that out and kind of redo that a little bit myself. Now, some of the stuff that's really suspect, if you come down here, they have like a tic-tac-toe grid here, which is super dumb. I mean, nothing's gonna wear like that. It's pretty absurd, honestly, but that's what you get for Mexican quality. I'm not saying that Mexico puts out bad quality. I'm just saying that it's not like a USA custom shop or something, or a Japan shop or something like that. So this is like a rush job on work, but like stuff like that is dumb. Stuff like this right here on the heel, that doesn't really make sense to me. That's not going to see a whole lot of wear at all right here on this face. you know, stuff like this like looks okay, but then they have these lines through here which look super fake. But yeah, overall it looks good, but I think I'm going to do some Dremel work myself and kind of hopefully get that stuff looking a little bit more natural. Here is the route job in the cavity. I took out one spring just to get it set up and get some flutter to the bar. With the 3 springs, like it doesn't want to flutter as much. So I find with 2 springs it works better. Again, this is a Floyd 1000. So it's a Korean made Floyd. It's to the specs of original Floyd, but it is not. I know people say that it is the same as a German made Floyd, but it's not. The hardness of the steel is done and the way it's manufactured is different too. But I've got a 1984 Floyd that I'm gonna swap that out with. But I mean, that's still a good bridge, don't get me wrong. As far as the neck, we have a maple neck, and it is a speed neck radius. So it's pretty thin, but it's not super thin. It's actually really comfortable, and it is a compound radius of 12 to 16. It's a maple fingerboard, obviously, too. And then 22 jumbo frets. The frets feel good. I will say though that you know, this Relic job that they have here, sorry about that, going on these frets and on this neck, it felt gummy to me. Like these frets felt kind of gummy. So what I ended up doing is just kind of cleaning them up a little bit. Not the board, but just kind of going over the frets and kind of clean them up as much as I could, as far as like just stretching out strings. And I'll when I swap strings, I'll do a better job. But it definitely made it feel a whole lot better. And I'll show you that what's making it gummy in a second. In fact, you know what? We'll just go ahead and take a look at the radius on that thing, and we'll flip it over here and look at the neck. It's got good aging on the neck. It feels really good. I think that this is a hand rub urethane that they have on here, and it feels really good. It's got good aging to it. No complaints here in that department. I will say though, where I have a complaint is, and I don't know if this is going to show up. Hopefully it does. Let's see. All right, so I wanted to show you guys up close, like where the gumminess comes from. You see this, like there's like a black, like a brown buildup right here. I think that's the hand rubbed urethane that's kind of built up right here, where they've been rubbing and they just didn't wipe that away. Well, that's got like a tacky feeling to it. And then that was kind of what was coated on the fretboard and on the frets. And like when I initially started playing it, it felt terrible, honestly. Like I was worried that I was going to have to send it back. And just using string cleaner, I was able to clean up the frets. Now, again, when I change the strings, I'm going to just polish the frets, and I think I'll be fine. And I'm going to take something and clean that up with, because when my thumb comes down here, it touches it, and it's just gummy and gross. Let's look at the back of the headstock. We have these guys, but they're decals, so all that can come off, and I will be taking that stuff off of there because it looks awful. But I just wanted to show you guys what that looks like. We just have Charvel tuners. They're not locking tuners, which at this price range, I really feel like it should be. There's not like that much more expensive to go with locking tuners. And I don't know why companies are so, they feel like they just refuse to put locking tuners on there. No, it doesn't really matter when you have a locking nut, but it makes changing strings so much easier. Now the weird thing here is, if we come up here, you see they got this nice, Relic fingerboard and neck, and then we come to this headstock that's new. There's no aging done to this headstock, front or back, which is super weird to me. So I'm going to, some point in time, I'm going to get rid of the nickel frets and put stainless frets on there. Again, a guitar at this price should have stainless frets. It's frustrating. These companies, they're charging us so much, but they're not putting like a whole lot of good stuff on there. But anyway, so I'll do a fret job on here, and then I'm going to have to put some nicks and stuff on here and age this guy, and then put do like a true oil or like some kind of rub on there. Let me just do a urethane rub on it and kind of get that up to snuff, because it looks out of place. You know, if you're looking at this thing, like the headstock looks weird. It's just too new. But yeah, like that's really about it. Again, you know, it's just it's got the Floyd 1000 on there. We do have a Seymour Duncan JB humbucker, and that is aged to 2. If I can get that on there, you can kind of see they've done some, you know, some rubbing on it to kind of like darken it up a little bit so it looks a little bit older. We also have, the interesting thing is we have a DiMarzio Area 67 neck pickup, and it's unusual to see a guitar with 2 different brands of pickups. You know, especially, you know, with Seymour Duncan and DiMarzio, but those are not bad out of the box. But I am going to go with a bare knuckle Ragnarok bridge, because I love that chunk and that thick tone that that thing has. And then I've got a Hot Rails that I'm going to use for the neck, that's got a little bit more output than this guy. In fact, it's pretty hot. I think it's pretty hot for, it's one of the hottest single coil humbuckers that I know of anyway. But yeah, and that's pretty much it. Again, the control knob is super smooth, so it's easy to use. There is like a little bit resistance here on doing the push pull, so you have to kind of slap it, but I love that is just a simple system, and it's kind of tucked out of the way. I don't mess with that so much, so I really like that that's out of my way, because my fingers, I have a weird unique picking hand where I do this, my fingers like hang out, or like I'll wrap my pinky around this pickup, and then these guys kind of float out here, and if there's a knob here when I play, it can tend to, like, you know, I can turn off the volume like while I'm playing, which I've had problems before. I could actually learn how to play guitar properly, but at this point in my life, it's probably not going to happen. And I realize this video is long-winded, but I'm trying to get through things as much as possible and as quickly as possible. I do like the grain that shows through on the body, and each body is different. Obviously, each body has a different pattern, and I like that uniqueness. Even though they're not unique, they are unique. They do not, however, relic the wood. You would expect to see some darkening of the ash of here where the arm overlays with wear and things like that, and some darkening of some edges and stuff. It's all brand new under here, so I would have liked to have seen something like that. Maybe that's unrealistic for them. Coming up on the neck, I do love the heel mount truss rod adjustment. I love that. It's so much easier to do that than when it's in the headstock. The frets, when they were leveled, they weren't really recrowned. So there's some that have significant flat spots on here, which isn't really showing up on camera so well. But trust me that they're there. So I would have liked to seen a better crown job after the leveling. But the edges are pretty well taken care of. There's a little bit of catches, but not too bad overall. And I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but it does have graphite reinforcement on the neck. Coming down here, there wasn't really any intonation done, and I haven't done that yet either, but I'll save that for when I replace the bridge. I did want to mention that they did relic all the chrome hardware, so you can see like some like aging and pitting on the Floyd Rose here. Hopefully that's showing up, because usually that's just smooth polish, but you can see how it's kind of been aged a little bit. And then they did the same thing up here on the headstock stuff, although it's showing up pretty shiny right here, but hopefully I can catch that edge. And I think that is pretty much it. All right, so thanks for hanging out for this whole entire video. Surprised you made it this far. Yeah, overall, I think it's a great guitar. It is overpriced in my opinion for what you get. I do like the swamp ash body and maple neck and stuff. I like the wear. I like the fretboard weight radius and stuff. Also like the rounded edges on the fretboard. It's got a lot of things to love about it. And again, this is going to be a parts guitar, so I'm like the stuff that I don't like, I'm getting rid of. But overall, I think it's fantastic. I really like the push button shift for to go to. It took me a little bit, you know, maybe a day or so to get used to like just popping that. And it's got a little bit of resistance to it, so you have to like whack it pretty good. So when you're playing, like it takes like a good like little whack. But like I kind of like that better, especially if I'm doing some technical stuff, because a lot of times like I'm not paying attention to like the blade switch or something like that, especially if it's around like other controls. So I really like that this is all in one unit. I don't use tone anyway, so volume and the push button is genius to me. It's far enough out of my way, so if I'm doing stuff, I can just tap it and I can go back about my business. I don't really have to pay attention so much of where my finger is as far as like doing like a bladed switch or something like that. But anyway, overall, I recommend it. I will do a video on whether or not, you know, the pros and cons of getting a Relic guitar. Obviously, I'm a fan. I don't think that you're a poser for getting it, but we're just going to dive into that in another video. Overall, you know, I've been playing guitar for 30 years now. I have guitars that I've owned for over 20 years. They have very little wear on them, honestly, and that's stuff that I've toured with. So, you know, getting something like this, I'm all for, and I'm a big supporter, and I'm not a poser in any way, because you know, I've been doing this for a long time. But yeah, anyway, until next time, I will see you guys later.